5 ways to detach from someone you can't be with. In this video, you will discover some tools and techniques so you can finally let maybe even the love of your life go, so you can move on and be ready for the right man for you, versus getting stuck in a maze into hoping and wishful thinking of reattachment and reattachment, which of course becomes a never-ending nightmare. Now, of course, if you are ready, then say if you're ready to know when a man is really emotionally committed to you or not, comment below with I am ready. I'm, of course, Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man method, and this is the channel where we magnetize your man so that the man you want, desires, and of course, pursues you forever. Now, of course, if you like anything in this video, if you like what I wear, my background, or the content, then please give it a like, girlfriend. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe bell as well. And hello, while you're at it, pop in a comment section that you are subscribing so we can warmly welcome you into the community. And of course, sharing is caring, so share it with all of your girlfriends. And of course, watch the video all the way through the end to get a special tip on how to know if he really loves you. So let's go ahead and dive right into the 5 ways to detach from someone you can't be with. Number 5, and I want to first of all lead with that, right? Almost like a free gift for you, which is my release exercise. And so essentially what the release exercise is all about, it's a visual exercise, right? And it's actually like almost like imagining putting a man into a life-size balloon. And then, of course, what we see, of course, in research is when you let go of that balloon, it becomes smaller and smaller. So as the brain sees how something that's really big becomes smaller and smaller, it starts to detach. Also, like as actually everything becomes like much more abstract, right? Because as it floats away, it loses definition, specificity. That also helps you on a nervous system level to detach from him. And it's really like, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So essentially you visualize the balloon really be completely gone through the clouds. Like you really don't see it anymore, right? But you were doing it in a pacing way. So the brain can prepare itself. Okay, so now he's as big as a bird, and now he's as big as a dot. Now he's totally gone, as an example, right? So that's what I would really recommend. It's like a release exercise. And what I love about the release exercise is, even if you're not completely sure if it's really over all the things, is you release the attachments, especially if you have an anxious attachment style. That will really support you tremendously. Now, number 4 is stop idealizing. Now, one of the reasons why it's so tough to let go of something that's actually not healthy for you is because you idealized the relationship, right? Like he was always there for me. He always loved me. He always took care of me. He always fill in the blank. And what you don't do is you're not looking at objectively. How was he objectively behaving on an everyday basis? So are you forgetting all those evenings when he didn't get back to you, or when he was inconsistently communicating, or when he was not aware of your needs and he was simply focusing on himself? So I want you to really start to focus on what was not working in the relationship, because the more realistic you can actually see the picture, the easier it's going to be to let go of him. So try that out. And of course, if you're new here, comment below. I'd love to hear which country you are, of course, and state you're watching from as well. Number 3 is avoid places of connotation. So first of all, this is, of course, like if you met on a certain website, avoid that, right? If you met on Tinder and you can then actually see where he is or who he talks to or whatever the case may be, no. You want to avoid that, right? If you met at a certain place, maybe you met at a bar, maybe you met in a restaurant, maybe you met on a street, at a gas station, whatever it is, right? You definitely want to avoid all of that, because not like because you could even run into him, but because there's emotions anchored in that particular space that then will reactivate the attachment and the memories inside of yourself, which is exactly what we want to get rid of. Okay. Also with connotations, I mean friends. Avoid his friends, because his friends, again, they will remind you of him. They may even give you updates, how he's doing, what he's doing, and so on. So you start to continue your brain, right? Your neuronal pathways will still be like connected to his world, at least energetically, right? Because you're like, oh, he went there. Oh, he went to this game. Oh, he did this exam. Oh, he did this job. He did this thing, right? Like, no, 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 no. And then, of course, same with family, right? Like, stay away from family as much as you can, even if you love their family, if you're like best friends with the mom, it doesn't matter. You have to, for right now, like distance yourself, because otherwise, what you're going to start doing is you're rotating in that same emotional cycle and you can't get out of it. Right? It's just not possible, because environment trumps willpower. And if your environment informs you over and over again about him, then guess what? Your willpower is not going to be strong enough to break out of that. Now, one thing that helped me when I was single, actually, was this whole idea of looking at role models. So if you feel like I don't know how to do that, then go to Google. Right? Like, look at role models that had a healthy attachment. How did they do that? Maybe you can go on Facebook, you read a story. I literally just read a story. One of my friends, she is a love coach, and she's been dealing with a breakup / detachment for the last 1.5 years, right? So if I was you, I would go to someone like that in that moment, right? If you have a friend like that, like you see something, right? Like, how did you do that? What did you do with your internal emotions? What did you do with your internal dialogue in those moments? And that really always helps me, right? Like, I'm always saying, like, you know what? There was someone who came before me, and that someone can give me the map, right? So why don't you take that map? Because when you get the map, you also understand what you can anticipate in that whole process. That it's not just this airy fairy experience, but rather that it's actually like really powerful for you to know, okay, this is what I can anticipate, so it doesn't take you by surprise, right? Because that's what we really want to make sure. So now, of course, if you like the content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe below for more juicy videos coming your way. And I know this remains to be unsaid, but I just have to say it anyways. Number one is zero communication. Okay, there's like no check-ins, no funny, like, gifs or reminding him that he forgot something at your house, all the things. Look, if he forgot something at your house, you just pack it up and you ship it to him. That's it. That's it. Or you have like Uber drive it over. I don't care what it is. You have a friend drop it off. You're certainly not going to drop it off yourself, because you're not going to go to his house, right? So again, you really have this zero communication. I don't care what in the world the reason is, because I see women all the time that come to me that's like, Antia, I just realized, he still forgot his bike. Or I realized, I didn't say that I appreciate him for this and that. And you know what I mean? Oh, I never, doesn't matter. Like zero, when I say zero communication, I mean I mean literally mean like blocking him. I would go that far. I would really block him, not because you hate him, but because you can't even see the name popping up, his phone number popping up in your screen. It's just going to aggravate your nervous system, remember? Like, right? Like, so your neuronal pathways, they're going to fire. And if they're fired together, they're wired together. So you're reconnecting over and over again the same memories, which you don't want. We want to actually break down the connections, right? Which sounds sad, but that's what we essentially want to do, so you can move on, so you can healthily detach. And before I share my bonus secret, comment below which of these have you used with a guy that you were interested in before, and what was the result. Would love to hear. And of course, as a bonus, for those of you who stayed until the very end, grieve and process. So this is really important. And I think a lot of people are actually not putting any emphasis on that, which is you have to go through the stages of grief. loss, detachment, breakup, that is a grieving process. It doesn't necessarily have to be like someone who actually died, which means in that grieving process, anger is going to come up, right? Sadness is, of course, going to come up, like deep grief, right? Like also like denial. No, this is not happening. You're kidding me, right? So you have to go through all the different stages until you arrive at acceptance. And by the way, this doesn't necessarily go linearly. You may go through that like 2 times, 3 times. And it's really important to express it with your voice, with your body, and also letting go of the stories that, Antia, if I start crying, I will never stop crying again. It's simply not true. You know what? We actually see that when you step into your emotions, you fully express them. Anger too, rage, right? Like, this is so unfair. Why me? All the things is focus simply on the emotion itself. Don't focus on any images. Don't focus on any stories connected to those images. You simply want to feel into the emotions that come through your body, right? That's it. And when you do that, you will be able to stop crying. You will be able to move the emotions through, because remember, emotions are gradual, they're graduating into the next emotions. They never stay stuck. They're never cycling. You know what they're cycling, what they're rotating is because you are in stories that then reinforce images, that then reinforce stories, that then reinforce images, and so on. So if you want to break through that cycle, remove the images and the stories. Now, if you want to learn more on how to attract the right man for you, then hop on over to mymquiz.com. And of course, link is right below this video as well. Now, if you haven't watched so already, when a man deeply loves you, he will start saying these 5 things. This is it for today, ladies. Lots of love, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.